Hey, friend, it is so good to see you here. Listen, we need to talk today. Um, if you don't deal with being stuck in dream mode right now, then you're going to hate yourself later. You have this amazing dream that's in your brain, and you've been thinking about it for a long time, but right now, that's all it is. It's just a dream, and that's all that it's ever going to be. Today, we're going to talk about 5 different keys to help turn your dreams into a reality. Growing up, remember, you had some big dreams. Maybe it was playing in the NFL or driving a fast car or retiring to a tropical island by the time you were 30. Maybe that wasn't your dream as a kid, but you know what I mean. So, um, but then life happened and you realized that some of those dreams were never going to happen. And so you quit dreaming that way. Isn't that a shame? It's so sad. As someone that's tired of living by the old set of rules, it's time for you to get your mind right and to start living those dreams before they go into the trash bin, that same trash bin that your tropical island dream has gone to. If you are ready to be challenged and to take on that next dream, then stick around while we cover these 5 tips, and we're going to jump right in. So thanks for walking alongside of us. If you know somebody that might benefit from this, then please do me a favor and share the video with them. And as always, we'll be back every Tuesday at 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. And if we're not here, then something happened like a couple weeks ago when the computer died and fried. It was 115 degrees and we had to be outside for the video, and it wouldn't work. And so we rescheduled it. But for the most part, we'll be back here every Tuesday at 11 Mountain Standard. So today, I'm also going to be sharing the notes for this conversation. And so I really hope to see you on here. And yeah, hashtag life happens. I really hope to see you guys on here. If you would like to get the notes when the blog goes live later this week, then just drop the word dream down below, and I'll make sure to send you those notes when it comes out. And as always, thanks for following along. So you've got this dream. You've got this dream that you've had in your brain. And it's your later in life dream, maybe. But with this dream, you have started to kind of waffle back and forth between thinking that it was a reality, that it was potential, that it could become a reality, and just thinking that it was just some aspiration that was never really going to be realized. And I'm here to tell you that if you don't do some specific things to make that dream a reality, it's never going to become one. So a couple weeks ago, I mentioned we did a video actually on dreaming and what it looks like to dream. We talked about the difference between dreaming inside the box and dreaming outside the box. We talked about the difference between the way kids dream and the way you used to dream as a kid versus the way you dream today. We talked about just different ideas of what a dream looks like and what it isn't. And we just talked about a lot of those different things. And so if you would love to go check that video out, then I encourage you to do so. You can see it on my blog, and I'm going to paste that address in the comments right now. So you can just go to the blog and see the dreamer point. Forgot how to dream at one point. That's what Amy says, and that is so true, that so many of us have forgotten how to dream. And it's really a shame, and it's something that we need to address. And it's something you need to address and something I need to address. And I'm doing it all the time anyway. So here are the 5 keys, and I want to run through these keys, and I want you to look at these keys with me. And let's think about what it is where am I in my dream stage, and where do I need to go? And what's the next thing for me to do? Okay, so first off, today, as we talk about this, I hope that right now you're saying, well, my dream mode is engaged. Fact of the matter is, I am dreaming. I am thinking of things. I'm wishing for stuff. I'm looking for opportunities. I'm going out and trying to change the world. I have these dreams that I'm focused on, that I want to do something different and bigger and better with my life. I hope that's true. I hope that you're in that category. Okay, so dream mode is engaged. And if it's not engaged, then you need to go back and watch that other video. There's some things that you need to do. You need to take a step back a little bit. You need to reconfigure the way you think. You need to reconfigure the way that you view the world around you. But more so, you need to reconfigure the way you view yourself. And so if you don't have big dreams that you're aspiring to, then I just want to encourage you to go check out that other video, to think about about what your dreams look like and how it is that you can begin to dream differently, and then come back, and then you'll be able to apply these points to your life even more so, and actually begin to engage that dream. So not just that your dream is engaged, but now you're engaged in the dream. See the difference there? See what I did there? Little play on words. But anyway, so yes, Amy says that she wants to not just survive, but to thrive and make a difference in people's lives. Okay, so what is it that I need to do? What do you need to do in order to take the dream into reality? Okay, the first thing I'm going to say is that you need to begin to dream in detail. Dream in detail. You know, for a long time I was a photography buff. I loved photography, had a really nice DSLR. I would go out and take pictures all over the place. I even kicked around the idea of starting a photography company for a while. It was just something that I kind of had a knack for, an eye for the visual side of things, and so I was able to kind of pick up on what would be a good picture or not a good picture. And so really that was something that I started to pursue. But I started to look at all these awards of people that were winning these photography awards. And I would go online to all these different places where they would have contests, and I would look at these pictures that people would take. And you know what was incredible was that the only time that there was a fuzzy picture that won an award was when it was on purpose. So the vast majority of pictures that win an award of some sort are crisp and detailed, and you can see things that they want you to see. And there may be other parts that are fuzzy in the background or on the sides and the periphery, but the things that they want you to see are in sharp detail, and they draw your eye to them. Now, so the idea of what it looks like when there's fuzziness behind you is bokeh or bokeh, depending on how you say it. But this is the idea that you start to see it more in your camera phone, like in our Samsung Galaxy. I can take a picture now that the background is fuzzy, and they do the same thing. Your iPhone will do the same thing, but in that portrait mode. But if I take a picture of a person and the background is all blurred out, then there's a difference. Your eye is drawn to the details that you can see. Now, I want you to think about that same approach with the dream that you've got in your mind. The only dream, your dream, as long as it stays fuzzy, your mind is never going to go to that in a real way. In order for you to begin to be able to take strides and to move forward in living out and achieving that dream, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to take those fuzzy things and bring them into focus. And so I encourage you to dream in detail, to take your dream and to make it something fuzzy and to begin to put specifics to it. So for example, if you are looking to travel, then don't just be satisfied with saying, "Oh, I really want to travel." That'd be amazing. What do you mean by that? Okay, so start to ask yourself that question. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Okay, so when you say that you want to travel, what do you mean by that? Do you mean that you like to walk around your neighborhood? Because that's traveling. I mean, in the greatest sense of the word, walking around your neighborhood is traveling around your neighborhood. But is that your dream? Is that really your dream? Okay. Do you mean that you want to go and explore different cities around the state that you live in and go to the restaurants and the nightlife that they have there? Do you mean that you want to go visit different oceans? Do you want to go visit different cultures around the world? Do you want to visit all 50 of the states? And if that dream is fuzzy, you're never going to be able to see it. Your eye is not going to be drawn to it. Only when that dream begins to have detail and the sharp focus, now you can begin the process of actually moving toward that dream. So I'm going to encourage you to take your fuzzy dream and to begin to write it down in specifics. Okay, and that brings up our second point. The second point is that we need to begin to map it out. Not enough to just say, I want to dream, or I want to travel. And not enough to just say, I want to travel all 50 states. But now you need to, the next thing that you would need to do, so the second part of making your dream a reality is going to be to actually start to write down details. Okay, so if you live in Florida and you say, I want to travel and visit all 50 states in our country, well, what does that mean? So what is the first state that you're going to visit? Probably the first state you're not going to visit is not going to be Hawaii. Or it's not going to be Alaska, right? Because that would mean going all the way from Florida all the way up across the country and across another country to Alaska. So maybe an easier state for you to visit would be Georgia, right next door. It's easy. A lot of history in Georgia, a lot of things you can go see. And so right now, then, what you need to begin to do is to map out your plan. What does that look like? We had a great conversation with a young couple the other day, and they said that they just started full-time traveling 3 months ago. How exciting for them. They were so excited to go and hit the road, to buy an RV, and to go start to see all these different places. And they have a goal of finding the city where they want to land one day. And in order to do that, they've kind of mapped out a way that they're going to travel around the country and what that's going to look like. But for you to have any hope of living it out, you gotta do the same thing. You got to start to write down some of those details. Okay, so what's the next state I want to go visit? And you don't have to have all 50 states mapped out, but maybe just mapping out the next state and where it is that you want to go in that state. So take that fuzziness again, and let's begin to bring it back into clarity. Begin to bring it back into focus and to show exactly some of the details that you want to look at. All right, map it out. 1. What's it? Dream in detail. Number 2, map it out. Number 3, you don't know this one yet. Okay, now I'm going to be honest with you. If you're reading it on the screen, you can see it. This one is tough for me. Let me tell you why. Okay, so tell the world. This one is hard for me. And I'm guessing for a lot of us, this is where we kind of hit a bump in the road. Now, here's why I say that. So when we talk about a dream, there's a certain vulnerability in those dreams. We are exposing a part of ourselves that we may not want to be totally accessible to everybody. So we are exposing a piece of ourselves that ultimately allows people an opportunity to laugh or ridicule or make fun of us. And it can be really hard. I remember distinctly when I was young, I shared something with somebody that was kind of like it was a heart thing. And they laughed. They were like, that's so dumb. And it crushed me. Now, I didn't show it on the outside, but anytime you reveal yourself to somebody and you give yourself up to somebody else, it is so vulnerable for a lot of reasons. One, you're opening yourself up to that ridicule, but secondly, there's an accountability to that. So if you have a dream and you are working toward that dream, then that's one thing. It's easy for me to do that in my brain, but it's way harder if everybody around me knows that. Because what happens now if I don't make it? What happens now if I don't reach that goal or that dream and everybody knows that I was aspiring to it? That's pretty tough. That's a big deal. That's pretty hard. There are a lot of families out there that are really struggling right now because they want children and they have this dream of having kids. And they've been trying to have kids for years. And at first, when they would tell their friends, we want to have children, it was so their family and their friends would all gather around. Oh, so excited. That is amazing. I can't wait. You're going to be amazing parents. And then as the years have gone by and they don't have kids yet, that dream just becomes more and more painful, right? Anytime you open yourself up and put it out there, then people are looking at it. But when it's something that's kind of up to you, so having kids may be tough. There may be some challenges there, but there are other things that we're dreaming about that are totally up to us. It's up to you how that works out, right? There's some things that if you had that goal of reaching this dream, then the only thing that would get in the way of that is you. And so when I begin to make that known and tell people about it, now all of a sudden there's that accountability that everybody's eyes are on me to make sure that it happens. And if it doesn't, then that's pretty difficult. So the reason that I'm saying that you need to go out and tell the world about your dream It's because it holds you accountable to that dream. With it just being in your head, there's no accountability. And if I don't reach that, then it's no big deal. But if I go to tell everybody that this time next year, you just watch, this is going to happen. Now what happens this time next year if it doesn't happen? Right? Now all of a sudden, now people are looking at me going, where you at, bro? Where you at? You had all these big words. What's the story now? And the next part, so number 4, is to give yourself a deadline. So once again, it's one thing to say, I want to do this, but it's another thing totally to say, I want to do this by this time. And so when you give yourself a deadline, then that just adds an extra layer of push for us. Just like in school, when we had these assignments that were due, there was always a deadline. And what did you and I do? Well, maybe you didn't, but I was the king, the master of procrastination. I was the one waiting until the night. I still remember distinctly, I had a paper that was due in a class, and I was such a fool. I was playing on the baseball team, and we had on Friday, there was this big game that we had to play in, and Thursday, I had a paper due on Friday also. And Thursday, what do you think I did? I stayed up all night working on this paper. I pulled an all-nighter the day before a big game because I procrastinated and waited. But you know what I did? I turned that paper in on time. I walked into that class, and I walked up to the front of the room, and I put that paper on that desk, even though it cost me, because there was a deadline. When you put a deadline on it, there is something about you reaching that deadline and living up to the expectation that you set for yourself and that you put out there. That deadline, when you reach that deadline, then all of a sudden there's a goal that is tangible, and you're going to push yourself to get there. So don't just say that I want to do this thing, but say that I want to do this thing by this time. So let's roll it again. Dream in detail. Map it out. Tell the world. Make a deadline. And now I'm going to encourage you to take the next step. When I say next, maybe what it is that you need to do is you need to take the first step. What is the step that you need to take toward accomplishing this goal, toward fulfilling this dream, towards going to do the thing that you have in mind? What is it that you're aspiring to in this? As you begin to walk out this process of dreaming and of moving forward and of going after it, then what is the first thing that you can do? Maybe you're saying to yourself, well, the first thing I need to do is I need to start to have details in my dream. Maybe for yourself that what you're saying is, well, the first thing that I need to do now, because I've already dreamed in detail and I've written all these details out and I've actually started to map it out and I have a plan of how to move forward in it. And I've told my family members, and so my family members know about this dream, but I've never given myself a deadline. So the next thing that you need to do is you need to say, okay, I've got a deadline now, and I'm moving towards this goal by a certain deadline. Or maybe you need to say, what is the next thing that you need to do? What is the next thing you need to do? Maybe your dream of living in an RV means that you need to start to downsize your house. That's what you need to do. And not by like chopping off rooms, but by getting rid of all of the things in the house that are holding you back from that. Because you look around your house and these things, you don't own your possessions, but your possessions own you. And so you're at the point where you just need to get rid of some stuff so that you can take up less space and be able to travel or get on the road to travel. So what's the next thing that you need to do in moving forward? Okay, so dream in detail, map it out, tell the world, make a deadline, and then take that next step. I hope that one of these points that we've covered today is helpful for you. So if so, do me a favor. Tell me, what is it? Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is it that is going to be the most helpful thing for you that was helpful for you to hear today? What is it that's going to help you to move forward and to take that dream and turn it into reality? I want to encourage you and say, I'm trying to play with my computer here a little bit, but if If something in this has been helpful for you, then please go and sign up for the live reminders. So if you go to go.exploretheunseen.com/live reminders, then that's going to open up a way for you to get reminders every week when we start to go live. And we'll just send you a little message in Messenger, and you can just click on it and then go straight to the video. It'll take you straight to the video, or it'll actually even take you to the replay later. And so if you're watching this on a replay, I'm still coming back and I want to hear your comments. So please tell me, what has been the most helpful thing for you today? Okay. So again, you can join me every week here at Tuesday, 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. My name is Jim Miller. I help families transition their lives to get into the RV of their dreams so that they can begin to live their dreams, whether it's for 14 days or for 14 months. And I do this using my signature MAPS method. It helps people walk through the process of figuring out what they need to do to live that dream in reality. So thanks so much for joining us today. I can't wait to see you again next week. Bye.